Quizlet is an online flashcard application that allows students to master vocabulary. Students can access the application on mobile devices and on computers. One can practice vocabulary sets on the bus or waiting for the train. It is also pretty good at providing pronunciation in standard languages, though computer-generated. Quizlet's audio is still pretty accurate. Courses whose vocabulary is full of technical names, often polysyllabic and Latinate, will benefit from Quizlet's ability to reinforce learning through sound, not to mention courses in common foreign languages. First thing to recognize is that you don't always have to create your flashcard sets from scratch. There are millions of sets available to copy and repurpose. You can customize someone else's flashcards, adding or subtracting as you see fit. Let's say I'm teaching a class in anatomy. I type in human anatomy and immediately get a hit with images. Yes, Quizlet does allow you to add images, though the free version has some limitations that we'll talk about later. I'm going to click play and then go out of the set so I can see further options. I can copy this set, add it to a class or folder, share it with students, and so on. Let's say I want to modify this set. I click copy, and then I have the option of adding terms. If I click create, it will be saved to my own sets. You can navigate easily through the drop-down menu next to your name. I can click on the set and then do all sorts of things. I can study the set myself as flashcards, test my knowledge through the learn functionality that requires me to type out my answers, spell out words after listening to the audio, or take a test. There are also a couple of games that we'll look at in a minute. If you click edit, you can always go back and add or delete terms and definitions from your set. What if you want to create a set from scratch? Well, you click Create a Study Set, which opens up the interface. You give the set a title and choose the languages of both term and definition. This will determine how the audio sounds, which is particularly important if one side of your flashcards is in a foreign language. You can type in the terms and definitions one by one, but you may suspect that this method can be pretty tedious. Isn't there a faster way? In my experience, the best way to create a more substantial set is to create a document in a text editor and then import the file. So let's click the import button. You'll notice that you have some options for the import. You can choose a tab, comma, or other character as the element to separate term from definition. I generally employ tab because I naturally use commas in my definitions. Every comma will create a new definition if you choose comma, which can really mess you up if you're not careful. I usually keep new line as the default, as I habitually hit enter when I complete a definition. If you put together your text file, you could just copy and paste the text into the box. Quizlet does the rest. It's beautifully simple and will save you a great deal of time. If you recall the anatomy set, you'll remember that it contains images. You can add an image to a box by clicking on the image icon. In the free version, you are limited to the images Quizlet has identified from Flickr as usable. If you want to upload your own images, you have to upgrade to the paid version. The free images are often workable, though the range is limited. I did create a set of some classic paintings as an illustration of what you can do. Now let's look at Quizlet's game options. Scatter, in my view, is the better option, particularly when you have images. The idea here is to drag and drop items to create a match. There's a timer as well that, in the classroom, can inject an element of competition into the flashcard exercise. This game is even better on the small screen of a mobile device. It serves as a wonderful introduction to brand new vocabulary as a first step toward mastery. Gravity is based on the idea of blasting asteroids. Your superior vocabulary and typing skills can save the planet. You have to type in the correct term to eliminate the falling asteroid. It's pretty fun, but you can't expect students to type out electroencephalography or Gesamtkunstwerk under such pressure. You can create a class so your students have easy access to flashcard sets for particular lessons. You can also have your students create flashcard sets as an assignment or extra credit. For example, each student can create a set of vocabulary they don't know in the week's reading assignment, and then you could combine those sets into a bigger review and save it for future use. Quizlet is a great app for allowing students to create their own study materials and to practice at their own pace.